Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're talking about Star Wars Legion's Ministravaganza roadmap for 2025. This was for the November 2025 roadmap for Ministrav. We're talking all about the Star Wars Legion updates and everything that was talked about. We're going to try to cover everything briefly, try to give you a quick update on everything. I'm going to make the admin portion here really quick. We're doing 12 days of Life Day in December. If you subscribe and you leave a comment on this or one of my videos, you're automatically entered to win one of the 12 fabulous giveaways that will happen. Check links in the description below for for Battle Foam discounts, for links for Discord and all the other social media stuff. Like the video, subscribe, share, all that great stuff. It all helps out. But with all that being said, let's just jump into the meat and potatoes of it. Will Schick talked a lot. Now, this whole Ministravaganza format was very different. It was, a block of an hour apiece for each of these games. Most did not take up the full hour. Legion was about, like 35 minutes or something like that. It's kind of in the format of how they do the Adepticon briefs, where it was a presentation given by Will Schick. So with that being said, we got a lot of Hoth stuff. Hoth was a big thing for this. We did get a look at the probe droid. We knew the probe droid was coming. We got to look at his card. He looks kind of like what you would expect. They also talked about that there would be another upgrade card coming with him that would somehow allow you to take more than a typical amount of probe droids if you wanted to. Also, he'll work with Blizzard Force and all of that. We got to look at Luke and Han on their Tauntauns. Again, a big Hoth push, a big theme that is going to be taking over. It's a close-up look. We don't have the back, we don't know the upgrades, and we don't know the points costs. But he does have a really cool thing where it's the lightsaber and horn attack. So you're seeing your first, well, not your first, I guess your first for the Rebels version of a lightsaber-based attack that also has RAM. Because you have an Inquisitor that has that for the Empire as well. But he looks pretty cool. More importantly, I think Han Solo is also one of the stars of the show here. I like his version on the Tauntaun as well. He is. We want to note that Han in this case does have operative, which is very cool. So I'm a big fan of this version of Han. He looks very cool. They also talked about new Battle Force boxes. The new Battle Force boxes and everything with this big Hoth push is going to be a pretty cool thing. They're going to be limited time, so they won't keep Battle Force boxes in stock. This is going to be kind of like, hey, they're available for a little while, then they're going to go away. I mean, because you're not getting exclusive stuff here. There are going to be 2 new exclusive miniatures to these with a new Leia and a new Vader. We're going to look at those a little bit, but also in these new Battle Force boxes, again, we've seen Battle Force boxes already, but this is kind of a relaunch of them with the new models. The old Battle Force boxes, I guess, had the old soft plastic models. Now you're also going to be getting your first look at the new Snowtroopers and then the new Rebel veterans here in the new Battle Force boxes. So these are the first 2 that they previewed, and here's a quick look at the alternate pose of Vader. This Vader does look very like Rogue One, like, oh, you've got away, which does also, I think, set Vader as by far, like, we need to do a count of how many Vader poses we have, of official Vader poses in Star Wars Legion, because there are quite a few. And we finally get a proper Hoth Leia, and this one I think is going to be well received. I think this one has been long overdue. I know I painted my original Leia in Hoth colors because I was doing a big Hoth thing. Of course, with the Snowspeeder being in the original release of the game, it's always been a big push for Rebels. It's one of the few times you see the Rebels fight a ground army battle, and the Battle of Hoth was one of the the leading inspirations for Star Wars Legion, even though we don't have an AT-AT and probably won't ever have one. We also got to look at some of the officers from Imperial High Command. We got a good look at Grand Admiral Thrawn Mithron here, who honestly, not a whole lot of big surprises here. He does have a lot of the keywords that I think we were expecting, but what's interesting about him is his command cards. We only have 1 previewed, and it doesn't look like everyone that is in this box is going to have 3 command cards. They may not all have 3, but at least in this case, we are getting 3. And he's got a really cool one about waiting, and we must wait and watch, which does allow somebody to kind of get a free attack outside of their activation. And it's not a standby because it can't just be removed. So very cool card. And it allows a lot of really mind games. I think that if you're going to run Thrawn, that you can do. I think he's going to be very, very popular. He's going to be super cool. We also did get a look at Tarkin. I had a feeling that Tarkin was going to be kind of like the Palpatine replacement and have pulling the strings. I'm glad to say I was mostly right about that. He's got a restricted version of pulling the strings. It is for a Imperial trooper only, which I think in the case here is like you wouldn't be able to do it for like Boba Fett or a mercenary or something like that. He also has entourage with Darth Vader. Doesn't have much in the way of attacking, though. He is definitely somebody who's not going to attack. He is somebody who is going to be pulling the strings. He's holding Vader's leash, if you will. And so it looks like he's going to have a 1 and a 3 pip. That's all they showed, at least. It's not It's not confirmed that there's not a 2 pip. There was definitely stuff that they talked about that wasn't shown, and there's always a little bit of room for mystery. But I'm guessing he'll have a 1 and a 3 pip here. And he's going to be trying to demoralize with fear. Will keep them in line. And again, I do really like the... It'll also have Moment of Triumph as his 1 pip. We don't know exactly what that does, but I'm sure people can figure it out if you want to have a little bit of this stuff. So it's kind of cool. Let's go ahead and keep moving. Now, Tag is also in that box. They didn't preview him yet, so maybe we'll get that later on. We did get a look at the wheel bikes. We already have Grievous. We've already seen Grievous's wheel bike. We wanted to see what the other wheel bikes we're going to look at. They're not over the top, but they do have Overrun 2, which is nice. Again, you're going to have 2 in a single unit. So this also lets us know that they're special forces. It lets us know that it's not 2 separate units, but rather 1 unit of 2. No resilience here, but they do have Surge to Hit, red defense dice. And they have the double laser cannons along with the Overrun 2 attack, which is a fun one. So I'm sure these guys are going to be fun. I'm looking forward. I'll be picking them up. I'll be having some fun with this. They're also not restricted to having just 1 unit of wheel bikes. So in theory, you could have a lot of bikes, right? You could have like 7 bikes if you've got Grievous. And yes, Grievous doesn't have the unique pip, but obviously you can't have 2 Grievouses. But this is super cool. Hondo. We've seen Hondo already. I've already unboxed Hondo on the channel, but they did talk a little bit about the Weequay Pirates. They're going to be getting in a battle force, a Raiders battle force. So that is something else that is going to be coming. We get a look at the Weequay unit, and I can now understand a little bit more about why they were worried about these guys with the larger sized unit if you wanted to do that with them, because of the fact that if they just... like this already seems like it could be very... We don't know what upgrades we have, and we don't know how much they cost, and there's a lot we don't know about the Weequay Pirates, but the fact that they're a corps that have 2 attack dice, and also have charge, and their weapon has versatile, so they can charge into melee with somebody, stay protected from ranged attacks, and then shoot out. And that sounds very kind of cowardly, like taking human shields and hiding behind enemy troopers and stuff. And it's very much like that seems like how Hondo would train his army to work. So I love the idea and the theme of these guys. And I can also see that being a little bit problematic if you got a supersized unit. So I don't know if they're going to have the supersized unit or not, but they look pretty cool. We got a first actual unit card look at the speeder tank. Also mercenary for all of those folks. Also will looks very, very cool. It's got armor 5, arsenal 2, hover ground, transport, and weak point 2 rear, 10 health and 6 resiliency, and it's got a pretty nice little shooting capabilities with its heavy laser cannon and anti-personnel lasers. We also have some new battle cards that are actually going to be coming in the battle pack, the battle deck card pack 2, along with the fact that they are also online right now. If you go to Atomic Mass Games right now, these cards, and then there are also some other cards that are faction specific. But basically, you've got 1 new primary, 1 new secondary, and then 4 new advantages, 1 for each faction. They are available right now. Looking at these at first, they don't seem like massively different, other than they have a side deployment option that you can potentially do. They still seem like at its core, at least this first one is still all about just, kind of holding an objective. You're just starting certain units from a different position. but it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like a drastic departure. It seems like a very small shift in the meta of competitive play to me. The new advantages seem a little different. Some of those can be potentially really cool. The rest of these are posted over on atomicmassgames.com, but some of them have some really cool things, like the that basically, some I think are better than others, and I'll leave it at that. We'll do deep dives later though, because I haven't played with any of them yet, and I don't want to make snap judgments on them. But it is cool that they're doing this. There's going to be more, but as of right now, we have one each that we can play with, and they are legal to use right now. They're all print and pray, print and play, not print and pray. That's what I do, because I hope that all my white dice don't end up blank. But of course, inevitably, they always do. Also, we got a couple of upgrade cards that are available right now. They've already given us some upgrade cards before, but some are available right now. We can add Rex, for example, to a clone trooper unit. We can add Callus to a special forces or core unit. We can add Kraken to a droid trooper unit, which I think is really going to be crazy, especially if you reinforce the droid trooper unit. Because they are, like he lets you upgrade dice for every droid that's died. So if you put him in a massive B1 unit, all of a sudden it could eventually, once enough of them die, he just fuels the fire and the machine of destruction. It's a very cool, interesting way to run, your heroes in smaller or in different units, and it lets you get more named characters on the field. Also, Cassian Andor has a double-sided card, which I think is also really cool. And a lot of the theme for some of these cards seems to be like, hey, once people start dying, things happen. And so I thought it was like, that's a pretty clever way to approach it. Hopefully they continue to do more stuff like this. I'd love to be able to get like all of my named characters on the board from time to time. And there's not too many ways to do that. More on that later, because named characters is definitely a highlight of mine. It's something I'm a big fan of. We also have 2 new Battle Forces. Battle Force documents are online right now. Stormtrooper Battalion, very, very limited unit. You can take a lot of Stormtroopers. You can take up to 7 core in this one. And then the 212th Attack Battalion, it's got Cody and Obi-Wan, and you can take up to 3 heavies. So if you wanted to run a couple of saber tanks, or if you just ever wanted to run 3 heavies, you can do that. You can do that in the 212th Attack Battalion. So that is cool. And it has some special stuff of where the tanks can share the green tokens from clones and kind of use that ability. So that much is also pretty cool. Those documents are online now. Now, this is the image that had a lot of people talking. There are some folks out there that would tell you that this was a Mace Windu spoiler, but indeed, it was not. Whose helmet visor is that? That's Jango Fett. This is a close-up of Jango Fett's face, and he's just got Mace Windu's reflection in his visor. This is Jango Fett we're looking at here, folks. This is Jango. And I'm gonna die on this hill. This is Jango, obviously, folks. This is more obvious than Gungans being in the rule book, which, by the way, that actually never came to pass. So who knows? But this is Jango Fett we're getting. I know they did not say Jango Fett's name, but this is obviously a hint of Jango Fett. So he's, again, they always have to leave you wanting a little bit more. I'm sure we're gonna talk more about Jango Fett at Adepticon. So that will be, of course, it's always a fun time. I'll be there, and it's gonna be great. But Mace Windu is not coming. One of the things that was said a lot during Ministravaganza, and if that wasn't enough already, then here's more. There was a lot of here's more. Legion by far had the best presentation of the entire event. We're getting a Jedi Council pack, and I'm thrilled. This might be the highlight, in my opinion, of the entire show. I am a nut for lightsabers. I am a nut for named characters, and I'm a nut for Jedi. This is everything that I love, and it's all into one package. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing. It wasn't everything that I wanted out of something like this, but this was a really, really. This was something I didn't think I'd ever get. I didn't think we'd ever get this many Jedi all at once, and it's so beautiful. So we're getting Plo Koon, we're getting Ki-Adi-Mundi, we're getting Mace Windu, we're getting Shakti. Presumably, this could even pave the way for extra battle forces, like Wolfpack and things like that. I think Wolfpack would be the most likely one out of all of these, even though everybody has their own units and stuff like that. Mace Windu had one, and they were in Shider Point, but I couldn't even tell you what his unit was off the top of my head. But Wolfpack was definitely the most recognizable unit out of these. So I do expect Wolf to show up, and I expect a Wolfpack battle force at some point. Definitely do. That'd be a very cool one. But yeah, there's plenty more that could happen with all of this, so it's funny. And of course, Shakti is probably still alive. I don't think any of her deaths were canon, so it would always be really funny to see when she dies in the game of Legion, because you're like, was this the canon death? Was this not the canon death? They also talked about mounted Jedi, and I thought for sure they were about to show me Obi-Wan on a Varactyl, but they did not, so it's Obi-Wan and Anakin on speeders. Anakin should be an operative in this pack, where Obi-Wan would be the commander, so this is kind of early Clone Wars type stuff. It looks like, perhaps. It's unclear, but at least in this case, it seems like Anakin is kind of... being a little bit reckless, and I love the pose of these. I like the smoke. I like how Anakin's like he's swooping in to cut a Jawa or a Tusken Raider's head off or something like that. And in this, he's going after the women and the children too. He's going after all of them. And you can also build a regular Jedi out of this pack, which does ask the question, are these guys going to be good? Does this mean you're going to have to get 2 Jedi Bark Speeder packs, or will you be able to magnetize it? I want to see more about this pack and how many people are really going to need to buy, although I do think it's cool to have multiple build options. As I've been experimenting more with magnetization, I feel a lot more comfortable about something like this, but not everybody will. So if that happens, we'll do a tutorial on how to magnetize and swap Obi-Wan out for your other Jedi and all that other cool stuff, because it's fun to do. It is fun to do. All right, let's keep going. Again, there's a lot here. The leaders of the Separatist Alliance pack was a big surprise. I don't think anybody saw this coming. We knew that Savage Opress was coming. We didn't actually get a look at Savage Opress's card for some reason. I thought for sure we were going to be getting that. That was definitely one of the things I predicted, but we're not getting that. I didn't expect... They had said that this was going to be 4 characters, and the 4th one was a mystery. In this case, however, there's also General Grievous in here, which is fine, because I'm not buying another Separatist starter, so this is a way for me to get a new Grievous sculpt. Also, that Dooku sculpt is kind of fire, honestly. It's pretty excellent. It's very, very good. But... gosh, Trench. Who would have thought we'd be getting Admiral Trench here? And and I said this in my in the watch party, but I think it makes perfect sense to put somebody like Trench. If you were ever going to do him, this is a great place to do him. Put him in a pack that already has some demand. People are already going to want Savage Opress. You're already going to want another new character. Like, I've already got Dooku and Grievous and Asajj Ventress. I don't need another one, but... in this case, actually, I painted my Asajj Ventress very poorly, so I'm fine with getting another Asajj, because I'm going to try that one all over again. But Trench doesn't really fit anywhere else. He's an admiral. He's going to probably be the Grand Admiral Thrawn equivalent, but with less. I don't know if he's going to have quite the melee, like the combat profile that Thrawn has, because Thrawn is pretty versatile and well versed in the Chiss martial arts, which I'm not sure what the spider guy can do in a fist fight, or in a, I don't know what they call a mandible fight or whatever. I'm not sure how good he'll be there. He's no Shelob, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, like Jango can certainly, it has the star power to pull his own thing. I didn't think this, and honestly, so does Mother Talzin. Hopefully they'll do a Night Sisters or a Dathomir battle force at some point. Han Solo and Chewbacca finally getting well, Chewbacca. Oh, okay. I mean, Chewbacca's always Chewbacca. He always looks the same. Han Solo. We don't have that Episode 4 look for Han Solo yet, and a lot of people have not been super crazy about the way Han Solo looks for his model. We're finally going to be getting an Episode 4 scoundrel version of Han Solo, and Han and Chewie both are going to be mercenaries in this pack. So I love this. I'm very, very happy about this one. I love the Chewbacca model and the Han Solo model. They look great. I'm 100% on board with this. Mercs. This sounds so interesting, and I can't wait to find out more about them. Because this is Han Solo. Like, this is, like General Solo could have come later, and this could have been like the original one, but you didn't have the Merc system when the game first came out. So it's kind of cool to kind of double back and go to the original trilogy and pull stuff that should have been here all along. And I'm really glad it's here. And I'm curious how well these guys will work with Lando Calrissian. It's definitely something that I want to see. We already knew that the Mud Troopers were going to be coming. They said they were going to be visiting Solo, and I feel like it's a natural flow because the Han Solo and Chewbacca kind of might work. I wonder if the Han is going to have multiple sculpts, if you can kind of paint him a little bit more like he's from Solo. I don't know. Maybe we're going to see another Lando at some point too. Who knows? But we are going to be seeing Mud Troopers, and they did confirm that they're going to be core. We have a look at some of the models. We have 7 models in this, at least as what was previewed. Granted, this early out, this doesn't always equate one-to-one with what we get in the final product. Sometimes there have been plenty of little mistakes and errors and stuff, from over time. So, but at least as of right now, it looks like we're getting 7 models, and they all look like they're different sculpts too. I don't know if there's any duplicate sculpts here. This is it is possible the one in the middle, the top middle and the bottom kind of left of center might have the same kind of leg pose, but very cool looking sculpts. These guys can be fun. They are talked about as being probably going to be cheaper than stormtroopers. They're more disposable, less trained infantry. So maybe like a 34-point core or something like that. I don't know. But they also talked about how they need stormtrooper support, and they announced wet weather stormtroopers. It's unclear how they're going to need these guys, because this is a whole different item number. It's not like they both come in the same pack like the Rebel veterans did and stuff like that. This is a whole separate unit. And we don't know much about the wet weather stormtroopers, but I have to admit, stormtroopers with capes is very cool. I like it. I'm an Imperial player, and I like to paint stormtroopers. These guys just look awesome. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Super cool. And the thing I never thought I was going to do, the thing I never asked for, but I think it kind of makes a little sense, is the Guerrilla troopers. This is a whole new unit that they made with Lucasfilm. This is rebels that have kind of salvaged Imperial armor and are kind of doing spec ops and special things. I don't know. It does seem like these are going to be a core unit. It's again with seven miniatures here. It does seem like they're going to be a core unit. They're probably going to be an elite core unit. And if they are wearing stormtrooper armor, this is probably going to be your first rebel core unit with red saves. And that is, I think, where this came from. I think they said, look, the game would probably be better off if Rebels did have a new core option with red saves, since I think they're the only faction that doesn't have access to that yet. How can we make that work? Well, and then they worked with LFL to create a new unit. So I didn't even know that that this was going to be something that was even on the table, but it seems like it could work. And also what I think is kind of cool about this is that they're going to look different than a lot of the other Rebel units. One of my criticisms has been, I wanted more fleet trooper love, because the Rebel troopers and then the Rebel commandos looked much too similar, and you had a lot of rebels with trench coats. Too many rebels with trench coats. I was getting really tired of like every rebel wearing a trench coat, even though it looks like this guy right here has a trench coat on, and then the other one in the top left. So there is some duplicate posing going on here. Not a fan. I might clip off the trench coats or maybe make them jagged or something. Maybe like mod them a little bit and do some, clippy cuts and stuff. I don't know. Hobbying is fun. But anyway, all new units here, so you can paint them however you want. You don't even have to make your stormtrooper armor white. Maybe they make it black so that, that's their way of standing out. I don't know. You can do a lot of cool stuff with these guys. But this is going to be fun. I think people are going to want multiples of this pack just based on the art and the idea behind it. They did close out the show with the with the Ghost Crew image. So we are going to be getting the Ghost Crew at some point, but they did not give us any particular information about this. Now, that's all the new product announcements. There's also some rulebook clarifications. There was some stuff with Cumbersome and a lot of points updates which went live. Nothing super major, but a lot of things at least going in the right direction. There was definitely Aqua's got a big change. Unstable Astromech went up a lot. Some changes to Rebel troopers and fleet troopers. Moff Gideon got changed a lot. Inquisitors went down a little bit, but I don't think anything was like overdone. You know, the jury's out on a lot of it, and we're going to have to see. They also did say that they're still looking at their next update. I am happy to see that Wookiees were mentioned as one of the things they're looking at, because I would love to see a little bit more love come to Wookiees. I recently played a lot of games with Wookiees and did absolutely terrible and still had a good time, but they could use a little tweak with the balance, and so I'm looking forward to that. Or maybe just some new Wookiees. I'd love to see like Chrysanthemum and some other Wookiees show up to the game too. I think there's a lot of opportunities for all of that, and I'm looking forward to it. All right. Tried to get through it as much as I could. We kept it under half an hour, so hopefully that helps. Hopefully that was your roundup, and hopefully you found this video helpful. Don't forget to make sure you comment. Let me know what you're most excited about and what you want to see next. Of course, I'm disappointed we didn't get Gungans. Of course I'm disappointed. But if they did give me Gungans, I wouldn't have anything else to complain about, would I? So it's always a good thing. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. And always wash your socks.